We are now finally starting with our next technical session. I request all the members standing in the front to please take your seats. All the delegates and members, I request you to take your seats now. I once again welcome all of you here to this next technical session on the emerging avenues unveiling the forensic accounting, detecting financial irregularities, where we will be highlighting the critical role of forensic accountants in identifying fraud, investigating financial irregularities, and providing litigation support. And we have with us our esteemed panelist and moderator. Can we have a great round of applause for our moderator for this session, Mr. Heshana Kuruppu, who's the Vice President of CA Sri Lanka and Vice President of SAFA. A great round of applause, please. I would now also taking this opportunity to invite our panelist, CA Dr. Durgesh Pandey, who's an eminent forensic expert. A great round of applause, please. We also have with us CA Kanwaljeet Kaur Soni, who's also a very eminent forensic expert. As our next panelist, we have with us CA Nikunj Shashikant Shah, who's also a forensic expert. Can we once again have a great round of applause, please? I would now also like to invite on stage our Central Council member, CA Dayaniwas Sharma. I would now be requesting our Central Council member, CA Dayaniwas Sharma, sir, to kindly give the opening remarks for this session.
Good afternoon to all. Multiple sessions in different corridors actually is a different challenge always to get in people. But however, by the time we start the session, I hope all the people and things get settled. And fortunately, when the opening remarks are there, it is only restricted for a couple of minutes. So I'll just hold all you people till the time other audience join us and speak something very small and little with regards to a topic which is a very important and very heart-touching to me, because there's a lot of, there's a 5th year in which I am the Vice Chairman of Digital Accounting and Assurance Board, which actually deals with not only the systems audit, but also the forensic engagements as well. But before I take it forward, let me just welcome all these fantastic speakers and the moderator, who happens to be the Vice President of not only CA Sri Lanka, but also the entire SAFA. And it is a real proud pleasure, because from last couple of years I have had an opportunity to work with him in SAFA committees. And yes, he's going to get that change in this specific countries in time to come. I wish you a great year ahead, and most importantly, it's going to be the next month onwards, post-December. So thank you very much, Heshana. With us, we also have these 3 speakers who have been actually participating in a big way in the development of forensic standards. I don't know how many of you are aware, though this is also getting recorded and it will be played at an appropriate time. But it is a proud privilege to say one fact after traveling multiple countries across the length and breadth of the globe. The fact goes very simple that, you know, everything has a price, but the price of a sentimental chartered accountant is only a recognition, which I feel, I don't know, it's a foolish love, but it is actually a love which is not having any limits, nor it can be priced. So these 3 gentlemen were part of this 200 chartered accountants. Just imagine, if you have not heard, this worth, generally हम लोग बहुत सारी चीज़ों को WhatsApp, we just circulate WhatsApp across the length and breadth. But what I request you all people to circulate is also one fact, that along with these 3 gentlemen who are sitting here, there were totally 197 chartered accountants during the COVID time. During the COVID time I'm talking about, that means you could not travel, you could not move anywhere, you were sitting at home. And there is one gentleman sitting in the audience also by name Mr. Murali Krishna, who happens to be again a very important person from our city, Hyderabad. because he also plays a very important role in development of the standards. So he is 197th person, I'll say. So still we are left with 196 people. I don't think anyone is sitting here. So this 200 people which I am talking about have not taken a single rupee from the institute for developing these don't you think it's a proud privilege? 9 months continuously, I don't know how many meetings. Amit might be having the record. Amit is sitting here because he was the only secretary who was actually handling the entire communication among these 200 people at different level. So I don't know how many meetings we conducted, but within 9 months, ICAI could actually produce the world's first forensic standards. No travel, no spending of money, no eating, no drinking. It was everyone sitting at home, and COVID time was so effectively utilized that these forensic standards have actually come into play. What is the importance of this? I'll surely share with you in the next minute. But the fact is, not only there we stopped and continued in the last year was primarily with regards to focus on implementation guide. If the standards are there, how do you implement the standards? Why do you actually have an implementation guide is something which was being deliberated in the council. And then at that point in time, we decided that, okay, look, we have to get in, and we got it on 1st of July, we released the implementation guide as well. Most of you might not be aware, this forensic standards or forensic engagements are not having any specific legal sanctity. The opinions which have been given by large firms also are very loose and do not have any conclusion. That is where Institute of Chartered Accountants of India thought, why not we actually work towards the standards which has a specific framework within which not only the chartered accountants who are working in, the other agencies which are doing forensic engagements, they are also able to follow that. And that movement has become proud movement when the courts in Indian courts, when they started referring forensic standards of ICAI in giving their decisions in many engagements which have been put before the court of law. So this is something which we have actually thought, why not we get this structured approach, the legalized approach within which we can actually get this entire thing moving forward. Now we have close to around 16,000 chartered accountants who have completed forensic course. If I'm not wrong, if that I don't think it will be more than that. We have 31,000 chartered accountants who have done the DISA courses. But do you know what is the fact? By doing only certification and gaining education, it actually doesn't give you any confidence to deliver work. When you have to deliver work, you need to really invest in a lot of tools and technologies. The tool and technology cost is very high. How do you actually manage this? Is something which we actually again deliberated in council. There again, the fact was, why not we encourage more and more of networking? Why not we encourage more and more multidisciplinary practice? Why not we encourage more and more, multidisciplinary practices as well as, corporate form of practices? And ICAI has been the first institute in the country to open up, to partner with not only chartered accountant to chartered accountant, but yes, to with the cost accountants, with the company secretaries, with the engineers, with the architects, with actuaries, even with lawyers for that matter. So we opened up in a big way, where you actually, once you have completed, a forensic engagement cannot be done by an individual. You require a battalion team. So it is time where you need to collaborate. That is my suggestion before I hand over this entire thing, the question answers to these 4 people. I thought it is better that, what I can give from my side, let me make it more clearer and also share the thought which ICAI is looking at when chartered accountants are coming forward. You will be surprised to know the forensic, learnings are not only restricted to India. We are also doing that certification course in Sri Lanka. We are doing with Nepal, we are doing with Bhutan, we are doing with UAE countries. Lot of people are coming forward to take that courses. Today this course is actually costing not bomb. But if the same course, if you do it any other institutes, it is not less than 5 lakh rupees. So just imagine, what do you want to do? Opportunity for forensic. Take it from me, not only for the numbers, but the technological forensics which are going to come, cyber security which is going to come, also is going to come in big way. Listen to these great people. That's the only thing which I can suggest you at this point in time. Might be at a later point in time, I'll come and talk about what more is to be discussed as a member of this institute and can be leaders in this opportunity which is actually standing around the corner. Thank you all. Thank you very much. I hand over the session to the moderator now. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend Dayaniwas Sharma. I think on behalf of CA Sri Lanka and SAFA, I would like to extend warm congratulations to ICAI for putting this magnificent event and including some of thought-provoking as well as contemporary topics for discussion. Well done, ICAI. So I think he put the basic tone for our discussion. Unveiling forensic accounting and detecting financial irregularities. So before we dwell much into the discussion, let's consider the backdrop against which this question arises. In an era marked by technological advancement, globalization, intricate financial transactions, and including digital transformation adopted by businesses. So robust financial oversight has never been more critical. So forensic accounting, which is multifaceted approach to investigating, analyzing, and interpreting financial data, emerge as a key player in ensuring integrity of financial systems. So our aim today, during this panel discussion with these esteemed panel members, is to go into several key areas and get more deeper insight and understanding. So we may cover areas like forensic accounting as a service, delivery and emerging opportunities, the role of digital forensics in financial audits, utilization of data and technology in forensic accounting, impact of legal framework and standards. So these are some of the key areas that we discussed during next 50 minutes time. With this context in mind, let's initiate our panel discussion with my esteemed panel members. We have got a remarkable lady and two fine gentlemen on our panel today. Usually the rule is ladies first, but today we are mixing it up a bit here. So let's kick off our discussion with one of the gentlemen. So let me ask this question from CA Durgesh. So lady, I'm sure you will have no offense because we are keeping in suspense. Durgesh, so my question to you is, amidst complexities in modern financial systems and the surge in sophisticated fraud accelerated by digital transformation of businesses, can we say forensic accounting is an emerging area that is practiced globally?
Yes, of course. Globally, almost in every country, in every large firm, they do have specialized departments. They have different names for those departments. They are called as integrity services, dispute resolution services, forensic accounting services. So almost all the large firms. So I agree with what our council member, he told that globally it's an unregulated profession, but then it's there everywhere. And now with the emergence of the fraud, with frauds becoming more prevalent than now rather than ever, this has become a mainstream practice. That is why we had those standards, implementation guides, more and more professional into this domain, certification. So this definitely is a upcoming area of work, rising area of work. But then yes, the domain is still very fluid. The rules of the game have not been defined. It's still evolving and it's very dynamic. So that I agree with you, Heshana.
Okay. Thank you. Nikunj, this question to you, like, is being a forensic accountant an exciting profession? Or is it involving thrill of unraveling financial mysteries, detecting fraud, providing essential support, or is it a boring job?
Okay. So, Heshana ji, first of all, thank you very much for the question. A very good evening to all my seniors, colleagues, and my dear friends. A very, very pertinent question that must be answered for every single professional who is seeking opportunity to develop himself or herself as a forensic accountant. Is forensic accounting fraud investigations, fraud detections, an exciting field? Is it an exciting field? I would answer this question both in the affirmative and in the negative. First, an astounding yes. Forensic accounting is without doubt an exciting profession. We have now a fairly well-defined team in our organization who undertakes forensic accounting engagement. Whenever a new joinee joins in this team, of course, we try to motivate him or her. And I tell them that here is your opportunity to play a Sherlock Holmes. That's right. Why? Because you are given the opportunity to find the truth of what only not seems to be true, but what is the actual truth behind these financial statements or the operations. To this extent, it is an exciting job. The investigation into truth. At the same time, I would also put a word of caution that it is not as dramatic as it is made out to be. For two reasons. Number one is that this work is extremely technical in nature. You need to take painstaking efforts to decipher digital data, financial documents, process notes, communications. To be able to decipher all this is not dramatic job by any means. It is a painstaking job. And second is the behavioral aspect of this job. The challenges that one encounters as a behavioral part. For example, you need to interact with people who may be either themselves fraudsters or hand in glove with fraudsters. To be able to deal with them, to be able to manage them, to be able to get the answers that you need from them is not a dramatic job. So there are challenges, yes, both in the nature of technical as well as behavioral. At the same time, the pursuit of truth is something that does make it an exciting job. Thank you. Thank you for the question.
It was very passionately and I think bottom of the heart you mentioned all your facts. So with that, before I move to the next speaker, I want to ask one more question linked to that.
Please.
So do you believe there are characteristics or skills more than technical aspects that a forensic accountant needs to possess? If so, can you name three key successful qualities a forensic accountant needs to possess?
Oh, wow. So, Heshana ji, this question is, I believe, a logical extension of the answer that I just gave. So, thank you for asking this. And I would like to repeat this question, what Heshana ji just said. Are there any top 3 attributes that a professional must possess to become a successful forensic accountant? Top 3. Well, I believe there are several, but if at this spur of the moment I were to assign priorities, then at the very top, I would say the first most important attribute is perseverance. Only those professionals who have learned to persevere must even endeavor to enter this profession. By perseverance, I mean making relentless effort until the matter reaches its logical end. Or in other words, until a matter reaches its logical end, it must not be left midway or even close to the end, because there is nothing like close to the end in a forensic engagement. Perseverance is number 1. Number 2, and this is a very, I would say, unassuming trait, but at number 2 is being dispassionate. Being dispassionate about work allows you to see things as they are, instead of seeing things with a colored lens. Sometimes, even at the start of a forensic engagement, and especially when one is taking a high-profile matter, which is already publicized in the media, sometimes the professional develops a mindset towards people who may be guilty, how would have things been done, and all this, that is seeing things with colored lens or with the lens that media has put in, is a sign of passion. I would rather say, be dispassionate. Be dispassionate so that you can see things as they are. The third important attribute is the ability to communicate in excellence, whether it is written or oral communication, and especially when you are giving litigation support or presenting yourself as an expert witness before the courts. Your ability to explain complex financial transactions in a simplified manner to the satisfaction of the court is something that is vital to your success as a forensic accountant. So I repeat all these 3 attributes, and at the top is perseverance, followed by being dispassionate. And last but not the least, excellence in communication skills, the ability to present complex financial transactions in a simplified way to the satisfaction of the court.
Thank you. Although you
I would
say
like
this,
to add one more point, if you allow.
Yes,
me.
yes, please,
In
please come.
extension of what just Nikunj said, interpersonal skill, that's something which we normally underrate when we are into financial profession. And if we are into forensics, this is absolute a demand of our profession. How effectively you communicate with the other person, how you retrieve that information from mind of someone, how you make somebody speak. That's absolutely a must for our profession. So that's an addition from my end, Nikunj.
Perfect.
Thank you. Actually, though you say dispassionate is one characteristic or quality, I feel you are so passionate.
Actually, when he says dispassionate, probably the thought process is like, say, I'll tell you, we have investigated hundreds of cases on behalf of prosecution. So you better know that the result of this prosecution will lead to jail term for someone. Now, when you say dispassionate, the word dispassionate is in a manner that a case is just a case. I don't need to invest myself. I don't need to attach my passion for that case. I am only interested in submitting my report. Then what happens after that is not my problem. I have been assigned a job. I need to do that job with utmost passion, and I have to be dispassionate with utmost passion. I have to leave that case to that.
Okay.
Too
Good.
many oxymorons,
Superb.
but that is how
Durgesh bhai, what you just articulated only means excellence of communication skills. A round of applause. Perfect, perfect.
Okay, I'll move to Kanwaljeet. So this question is relating to, like, when considering a workplace investigation, traditional way is normally looking into examining just someone's emails. But now there's broad array of digital sources available with the technological development for scrutiny. So why is there a rise in prominence of digital forensics in financial audits?
Thank you. Hi everyone, good evening. How important is digital forensics in financial audit? The example is, if you look at audience, most of them are busy in their phones. That's the data. Gone are the days when data used to be on paper. Today, data is in your mobile, your laptop, network. And that's where, when we talk about financial audits, forensic audits, we just cannot underestimate the importance of digital forensics. And digital forensics is a very wide field, starting from acquiring the data. The data could be in mobile, the computer, the network. So we retrieve that data. Then we store that data, we analyze that data, and we present that data in the form of our reports. So digital forensic is almost everywhere, starting from the point one till the time we present our reports to the court. Yes, I completely agree that playing with digital data is absolutely not that easy. When you give me a piece of paper, I can retrieve it, I can store it, I can analyze it the way I want. The problem with digital data is that it's absolutely volatile. You touch it in wrong way, and it's gone, it's corrupted, and court says, come on, what is this? I'm not going to take it. So digital forensic is becoming really important part of our audits. Our financial audits, our fraud investigations, assignments, because data this day is all around us. And when we say data, it is not just about certain ledgers or certain structured kind of data. Data is scattered. We deal in a lot of unstructured data. We talk about your profiles on Insta, LinkedIn, we talk about your emails, all are unstructured data. And if you think that for financial audits or forensic audits, we just don't need to access somebody's social profile, then I'm sorry, that's not the case. If you are going to investigate, let's say, a corruption case, I'm sure you're not going to get a paper trail easily. How will you connect the dots? How will you do the transaction monitoring? So when we talk about digital forensics, thanks to the technology, it helps us creating trail of transactions. It helps us connecting the dot, we call it transaction monitoring. We can also capture the digital evidences, store it and present it. So actually, technology has supported our work quite a lot. Digital forensics is an absolute boom, and it's absolute plus for our profession. And I'm sure we're going to be using digital forensics more and more in future.
Okay, thank you. I have a few more questions relating to digital and technology, so I'll get into those during the next round. Sure. So Durgesh, now earlier during our first round, you mentioned forensic accounting is an emerging area and it's a global practice. So my question now is, we know the traditional services offered by accountants, including advisory, consultancy, and assurance. So how impactful is forensic accounting as a service offering?
Oh, it's very impactful. See, I'll tell you, the mandate in case of forensic accounting is very clear. See, having investigated cases from the prosecution side, I get a lot of auditors, and then I got a lot of prosecutors and a lot of law enforcement agencies where, say, the policeman, or for that matter the prosecutor, will say that it was so evident, it was so clear, why didn't the person realize this, why didn't the person do what he was supposed to do? As I always say, that one becomes very wise in the hindsight. मेला खत्म हो जाने के बाद सारे बोलते हैं कि ये खराब था, ये खराब था, ये खराब था. After the fair, everybody says that this was not good. But it's very difficult to pinpoint a instance that this is not falling in line. Now, having said that, when we get a mandate which is clear, which says that investigation is required, the entire thought process of the professional who's investigating that changes. We had, it's plain what audit 101, we have learned that auditor is a watchdog and he is not a bloodhound. But in case of investigative audits, in case of investigations, in case of forensic engagements, the role entirely changes and then you become a bloodhound. We don't have sampling. Sampling is a very dangerous area in case of forensic engagements. You cannot sample because the probability of a fraud would be, say, 5%, and if you draw a sample of 10%, the probability of having a fraudulent transaction by mathematical expression will go to 0.5%, 0.5%. And trust me, you will not find that fraud in 0.5% because we'll have Murphy's law, which will always against us, which will always be against us. So as a service area, it's very effective. In fact, I have certain slides which I present where I say that it offers highest degree of assurance. Of course, forensics and assurance cannot be spoken in same breath. I'm sure Nikunj bhai will be elaborating that in more detail. We don't call forensic audits anymore as per the standards.
In fact, Durgesh bhai, today when we were conversing over a cup of tea with a few other friends, you made a very interesting point, and that is that assurance and forensics must not be offered together. Now that's a very eye-opening point that Durgesh made. What he said is that sometimes in overzeal, we approach our clients and say that we will do audits, we will do internal audits in a way. Durgesh, you may want to continue from here. That point.
See, I had a gentleman who was telling as to, I want to start a practice in, or rather he started a practice, he transitioned himself from industry into practice, and then he is telling that I started internal audit, but then I'm giving that flavor of forensics in my internal audit. So I said, you have to be very clear. This overlapping of practice offerings is very difficult. In the penchant to offer both the services and probably to increase the fee, we offer both of them. Now, what will happen that when I offer an internal audit along with a forensic fraud risk assessment, rather to put it more precise, I'll offer fraud risk assessment with an internal audit. The problem will be that I will be training my client to expect both the services from me without delineating as to what is what and what is what. So I told, you will be offering both the services as a package. You will be getting fee for one service At the same time, you will be taking the responsibility for both the services. So it becomes too onerous. Besides, audit is clearly defined. Audit is known, and it is known between us as to what to expect from that. But that is not the case with forensics. Mind you, the biggest problem in forensic engagement, and I get a lot of complaint, कि आप लोग गोल गोल लिखते हो, you don't write sharp, you don't say who's the culprit. I mean, that is not my job. Last week, I had a case, Mr. Heshana, there was a case, and then fortunately we have now our courts are on YouTube. So Honorable High Court of Gujarat, there was an argument where my paragraph from the report was read that a fraud of 9 crore, so 90 million Indian rupees is made, money has been siphoned. So the defense counsel said, but then the chartered accountant is not telling that who has stolen the money. So the honorable judge, in all his wisdom, Nikunj, he was telling that it is not the job of the chartered accountant to say who has done the fraud. That is for the police department to investigate. At the best, the chartered accountant is telling that a fraud has happened. That in itself is enough to deny bail to this person.
Yes, yes. So that was a moment of truth for me as well. You know, when Durgesh said this way, that let us very clearly demark attestation and assurance services from forensic accounting services. Let us not offer them as a package. Else, we will be paid for audits, required to do forensics with responsibility of both.
That is the most dangerous part.
With responsibility of both.
We can compromise on the money, not on the responsibility.
Or not on the responsibility.
So how do you suggest to take it forward? What's the way forward?
Super. So let us consider a scenario, a real life scenario. Most of my friends over here, maybe senior colleagues also over here, who are practicing in audits, internal audits or statutory audits. When they come across indicators of fraud, my suggestion or my wisdom is that bring these indicators to the light of the governing body and pause over there. Pause and put the ball in their court. Now it is the time for them to take the action. Don't be passionate. In an act of passion.
About audit findings, is it?
Yes, in an act of passion, we try to investigate the truth. No, this is not your job. Hold on over there and report it. That yes, these are the indicators that we have found, and these need to be brought to their logical end.
Okay.
Let an forensic accountant take over from there.
You know, the problem, Heshana, in such a situation is that you never know where does the rot ends. Probably the person who has appointed the audit, maybe he is the prime suspect. And then you may be reporting him that a fraud has happened. And this is my finding. So in that case, you will compromise vital evidences.
Sure. So coming back to your previous point with regard to the witness and the court decision that forensic accountant is not responsible to find the fraudulent activity and highlight it you can do, but you are not responsible to find the person.
Who did it? Yes.
Okay, so you mean to say that forensic specialists can branch out to as a career and become an expert witness?
Yes. Of course. I mean, I'll tell you, an expert witness, and while I'm very happy while discussing the attributes of a good forensic accountant, Nikunj mentioned that he should be able to articulate communication. Kanwaljeet also did mention interpersonal skills. So expert witness, as he's telling, expert witness is a service which is to be provided by a forensic professional. It's not out of choice. If you provide out of choice, you'll be paid money. If you don't wish to provide out of choice, on the third bailable warrant or on the first non-bailable warrant, you are supposed to go to court and provide the expert witness service. So, of course, that will not be called as expert. You will not have the word expert before your name. So, interpersonal skills and articulation. See, I'll tell you, it's very difficult. working in complex matters, when you discuss say a stock market fraud for a front running, somebody says that price sensitive confidential information has been disclosed, and then he has bought a call option and he made money. Now explaining a call option, explaining a price sensitive information to a judge, that is a nightmare in itself. Trust me, it takes equal amount of effort to write a report and to explain. So you have to be a teacher. The language has to be very simple. You have to articulate it in the simplest form. Probably this is the exact language what Nikunj bhai said. So expert witness is an extension, and in most of the jurisdiction, at least for the Commonwealth jurisdiction, because we are a Commonwealth country, I mean the British legacy follows. So in most of the Commonwealth jurisdiction, you are a Commonwealth country. In most of the Commonwealth, in fact, our penal codes, now it has changed, but then earlier our penal codes were also few sections here and there. The penal codes were also same. So in most of the Commonwealth jurisdiction, like we have in India, we have section 45 of the Indian Evidence Act, which recognizes experts in a matter where the court is not competent to take a decision. The court takes assistance of an expert, and you are supposed to, and mind you, the author, it's not the firm. It's not the firm who is supposed to defend the report. It's the author of the report, the one who signs the report. He is the one who's supposed to defend his report at all forum. That yes, this is a decision which I made. This is an opinion which I expressed, and I have expressed my opinion based on this. At the same time, even our ethics, our code of ethics, the forensic standards, they are very clear that we should not express an opinion of guilt or innocence. So we have to be cautious that the expert witness does not include an opinion of guilt or innocence. But an expert witness is a very important service which is an offshoot of the forensic engagement.
Okay, thank you. So this question is to Kanwaljeet actually. So with regard to digital evidence, it provides a comprehensive and verifiable trial in financial transactions. So allowing financial forensic accountants to trace, analyze or interpret such information. So what are the key challenges financial auditors may face when they try to look for these digital evidence?
Though digital forensics is a very, very important part of our investigation, we do still feel a lot of challenges. One of the very big challenge we see here is encryption. If you ask me in personal capacity, I would always say, please update your software, update your mobile. But I always wish that suspect doesn't do it. The more updated they are, the more encrypted is the data, problematic the ground is for us. So encryption is one of the challenges we see here. The second challenge which I've seen is the very high cost of softwares and hardwares involved. Each time we talk about software for digital forensics such as imaging, cloning, or any other software, the costing is pretty high. Even Daya sir was mentioning about networking so that we can share the cost. And trust me, this actually is a very big challenge. The third challenge in digital forensics could be related to jurisdictions. It's not necessary that a suspect would save the data in Indian platform itself. Then jurisdiction becomes a huge challenge. So these are few key challenges, and of course, one more to add here is our knowledge in the field. We may have knowledge, but since technology is so rapidly changing that it's sometimes really hard to have that kind of knowledge and skill set. Each OS is different. Each platform is different. You need different experts for different networkings. And that's something which becomes a challenge for us sometimes because we need experts from various fields, not just one field. So these are few key challenges I foresee.
Thank you. So Nikunj, this question is with regard to, let's move on to now data and other technological aspects. So what role does the data analytics play in financial fraud investigations? Could you briefly explain with few cases, if possible, within few minutes?
Yes, sure, sure. So, Heshana ji, once again, thank you for this question. What is the role of data analytics in forensic accounting? I read somewhere, Heshana ji, and this has left a very deep impact on my mind. Into quote, data is willing to tell you 1,000 stories only if you are willing to listen. Yes, this is true. Data is willing to tell you 1,000 stories only if we are willing to listen. You would have also read somewhere, if data is the new oil, then data analytics is the new refinery. This is 100% true. Data analytics is the new refinery. Let me put before this August gathering at least a couple of cases where we have implemented data analytics to uncover such kind of frauds which otherwise would have been very, very difficult to uncover. Most of the times in audits, we go through processes, examining and evaluating processes and the controls over them. Say P2P, procurement to payment. We do a process walkthrough, and in that process walkthrough, wherever we identify control deficiencies, we would like to this, that, and the matter then takes a logical end from there. However, in one of the engagements where we were told that there is a high probability of procurement fraud, we said, let us examine the data. We retrieved data of the purchases of every single item purchased by the company, whether it is asset, whether it is stock in trade, or whether it is raw materials, everything, every single purchase made by the company for the entire financial year. And in that, we implemented a statistical measure called standard deviation. Standard deviation of the rates at which the procurements are made. All of us learned standard deviations somewhere during our class 10 or class 12 days. I'm sure everybody remembers, right? Yes or no? Yes, all of us remember what standard deviations are?
You remember the word but not the calculation.
Right. So sometimes in theory, we do believe that we know what standard deviation is. And I'm so happy that all of us or several of us answered in an emphatic yes, that yes, we remember standard deviations. Let me ask the next logical question. When was the last time that we implemented standard deviation? May I see some hands who would like to answer this? Superb. At least 1, 2, 3. Wow. 4. Of course, wisdom is always found at the back benches. Superb. So there may be around 300 or close to 300, 400 participants, and I could see 4 hands who said that yes, recently we have implemented standard deviations. Standard deviation is deviation from the mean. From the average, how much is every single data point or every single rate of procurement far off? the farther it is from the aggregate, the higher are the chances of irregularity. Or in other words, having a lower standard deviation indicates a lower risk. Standard deviations are also called as beta. How much does every single data point vary from the mean? In a regular P2P process, what is done is you look at the procurement price, you look at the three, L0, L1, L2, and you select L0, and then you go to the next transaction. Hey, but has anybody ever applied mind that if purchases of the same material have been made throughout the year, are there significant deviations in every single purchase from the mean rate? This is a statistical technique that is implemented in fraud analytics. Now, when you implement such techniques, you are actually evaluating every single data point and seeing how far it is from the mean. Those items that have a higher standard deviation come up when the entire data is sorted in the descending order of standard deviations. And you get your red flags indicating irregularities in procurement. Right. So this is just one of the techniques of fraud analytics. The second, again, very, very popular one is Benford's law.
Yeah, briefly, if you can.
Yes.
You want to take it, or otherwise can I move to?
No, you can. We are absolutely.
So this question is to Kanwaljeet, actually.
Sure.
Linked to the data analytics is artificial intelligence. So we know that fraudulence as well as cyber security, there is always battle due to the technological advancements. How artificial intelligence is changing the landscape of financial frauds when it comes to fraudulent activities as well as prevention of the same?
Sure, thank you. So today, artificial intelligence is everywhere. In fact, AI is not a new concept. It was there with us for a very, very long time. Today, we hear a lot about AI just because we have a lot of data available. In order to have a successful implementation of machine learning, which is just a subset of artificial intelligence, you need to have a large set of database. And today, the data is available. That's why AI is becoming more and more effective. So if we talk about the problem associated with artificial intelligence, the fraudsters are using AI in committing crime. If you look at your phishing mails today, these are far sophisticated than before. Today you get a mail or a message for winning a lottery or a refund issued by income tax department. The language, the way it is presented is far more superior and sophisticated. So fraudsters are certainly using artificial intelligence in committing crime. And you'll be amazed to know that by the end of 2023, the global financial fraud with the help of technology is as high as close to $48 billion. That's the quantum. But at the same time, the good news is that AI can also be used by people like us, because AI is not biased. It's there for everybody. And I'm sure we're going to use AI for all good, because it's very, very powerful tool. It has a capability to dig down in the data, creating the pattern, creating anomalies, and letting us know. So a lot of our human efforts can be reduced with the help of artificial intelligence. So with this, I would say AI is both plus and of course coming with a lot of risk. Let's see what future holds it for us.
Okay, I think in the interest of time, may I now open the forum for audience to ask questions. So we can take few questions if you have and get some clarifications from the expert panel here. you can raise your hand or, yeah, okay.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to ask questions. So I'd like to ask the panelists that what is the future or scope of forensics within the next 3 decades? How do we see the industry growing and moving? And I ask this because I'm a young professional who is also working in forensics. So with that background in mind.
So I would just add one single line before Durgesh adds on. Fraud is not going anywhere. It will never go out of fashion. So fraud will never go out of fashion. The demand for fraud professionals will never go out of fashion.
Yeah, in fact, we have the maxim. Kanwaljeet is absolutely right. We have a maxim that you cannot eliminate frauds. Whatever control processes you will put, fraud cannot be eliminated. Fraud will always be there. The global fraud, she spoke 48 billion. The ACFE survey says that 5% of the global GDP is prone to fraud. That comes to $5 trillion US. It's the size of economy which we are aspiring to become. That is the size of fraud industry. So the next 30 years are bright. I am on the same path as you are embarking. So it's win-win for both of us. Please continue your journey, sharpen your skills, and you will be in business. Pakka.
Yes, so just to clarify what Durgesh bhai said, the future is bright both for fraud professionals and for anti-fraud professionals.
No.
So now
I always said anti-fraud professionals.
Very true, very true.
Yeah. Fraud is to be heard and read as anti-fraud professionals only.
Absolutely. So that is the point. Let us remind ourselves that we are all there in the fight against fraud. We are all anti-fraud professionals. And I read somewhere, and I'm very much influenced by it, that fraudster is an artist. Investigator is a critic. So till the time a piece of art and one more piece of art is released, you can be sure, ma'am, that there is going to be no dearth of work. Yes, all of us will be in business. All of us. Yes, the gentleman
more
here.
question.
Yes.
So we can take 1 or 2 more questions only because we have 3 or 4 minutes.
So I am in traditional practice in the field of audit and assurance, and this is a new field to me. This is the first time I'm hearing this kind of stuff. So if you can give a brief of how can a person like me who is into audit and insurance can transit into this phase, if you can just brief.
Okay, so I don't know what is the best way to branch out into this, but
So you
let
can
me
take 2
share.
minutes maximum.
Yes. Let me share my experience. How did I branch out into this? Okay, so I branched out into this by solving other people's problems. Absolutely. So next time somebody comes up to you and says that, hey, here is a fraud indicator, how should I go about? Then it is not his problem, it is your problem. Work overnight on it and discuss with friends, colleagues. Start preparing your notes, start reading a lot, and sharing your knowledge on the forums to gain peer recognition. In helping others, invariably, we help ourselves. This is whatever little I have learned. This is the manner in which I have learned. Thank you.
So we can have one last question.
May I?
Okay. Please. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so there are 2.
Sir, in fact, what I feel is forensic or fraud, etc., you come by only by accident. Do you agree?
So the survey says, I mean, it's not me who agrees. The survey says that the probability of finding fraud is more by accident than by external audit. But then the highest method of finding fraud is by whistleblower complaint. So by accident comes 4th in the list of detection. We have a report called as RTTN, Reports to the Nation, 2022 edition, freely available on internet. You can read that. It has beautiful infographics. But yes, we do get to fraud by accident more than by external audit. That is the survey. I don't say that. I'm quoting a survey.
Okay, so I think with that, we'll.
So last
conclude.
question, please. May,
Acha, okay, one last question.
good evening, panelists. I'm CA Ankit Jain from Jaipur. My question is, while interview or investigation during the assignments, having a conversation recorded, can it be a backfire?
Yes, it can. See, I'll tell you, any evidence you discover is a two-edged sword. It cannot be just used for yourself. Please think of the opposite counsel, if not more than as much intelligent as you. So he will also use it the way you use it. First of all, recording has to be as per process. Permission has to be taken, and it can only be consensual recording if you want it to be admissible in a court of law.
So take a consent in writing, that will always help.
Consent, while we take consent, obviously, chances are that he or she might not agree. And if they agree, then whatever we want from their mind to be uttered, I think that would be defeated.
That is law of the land, my friend. We cannot be beyond the law. You have to find your ways and means to maneuver that, and I'm sure you'll learn that with time.
Okay, I think with that, we conclude, but there's good news. Whether it's good news or bad news is a question actually. Food is here to stay because it's linked to the weakness of mankind. So there are opportunities which are ever evolving. So with that, we conclude the panel discussion. Thank you very much.
And with that, we have successfully concluded our session. I would like to thank our panelists on stage and our moderator for such a brilliant and an enlightening session on forensic accounting. Thank you so much, sir. I would be now inviting on stage our Central Council member, CA Dayaniwas Sharma, sir, to kindly felicitate Mr. Heshana Kuruppu, sir, who was the moderator of this session. Can we have a great round of applause, please? I would next like to invite CA Vikash Jain, who's the Regional Council member of WIRC, to please come on stage and felicitate our panelist, CA Dr. Durgesh Pandey. Can we have a great round of applause, please? I would now take this opportunity to invite CN Dr. Anuj Goyal, our Central Council member of ICAI, to please felicitate CA Kanwaljeet Kaur Soni. I would now like to invite our Central Council member, CA Sanjay Kumar Agarwal, sir, to please come on the stage and felicitate our panelists, CA Nikunj, Shashikant, Shah. Can we have a great round of applause, please? It was indeed a golden opportunity for each one of us to enrich and enlighten ourselves on the emerging avenues unveiling forensic accounting, especially in the arena of detecting financial irregularities. And with that, we conclude this session. I request all of you to stay back, as in another couple of minutes, we would be beginning with our next session.